Today signifies the dawn of a new era of cattle farming in wherever we are, Jack. All right, Jack, we've arrived.
Yeah, we're here at G's. We're going to read the book. The book says that G's, it is named after the nickname of one of the first ever backpacker workers at Prenty Downs, Grania Somerville. She was from the UK and she moved to New Zealand and she stayed there. So we had that story about Grania, but these trees that you can see all around here, these trees are called gidgeys. Now, gidgee sounds an awful lot like G's, and most stations are going to have a water point that's named after a gidgee, because a lot of the time it was a safe area to drill because they love the water and they're a good indicator. They can indicate a fault. In this case, we've got just an absolute bucket load of these trees, and then we've got a creek over here, and this creek that we're near feeds down into Windmill Creek itself. And so it does get quite a lot of water. And out to our south, we've got the Von Truro tablelands, and that's a point of elevation, but it's mainly a gravel stone ridge. Now, the water, when it rains, is going to flow down into any of these fractures and into these creeks, and it's going to come along. And any fractures that it finds in the rock, along the creek lines, it's going to percolate through and fill up our fractured rock aquifers, thus giving you some very clean and pure water. Because you're on gravel, it's nice. It's just about pure rainwater that you're pulling out of the ground here, because you're not going too deep. You're not going into the calcrete, so the calcium, the lime, the hard water. So gidgeys, you think that G's comes from, there's a lot of gidgeys, so G's. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Sonia. Grania? I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name already.
Look, if she's watching, maybe she can...
she could fill us in.
Yeah, that'd be good, actually.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find her.
Well, we could always try and find other Prenty people. We've had people talking about when they worked here for Will.
Yeah.
People who visited in the past.
Yep.
So maybe we can find some other stories about Prenty as we explore.
Beautiful.
So on to why we're here. We want to put the remote monitoring here. We want to get the camera going so that we can have a good look and see who's coming in. So these solar panels are powering a electric submersible pump, which is down that roughly 24 meters underground, and that's into the fractured aquifer. So it's not a water tank underground, it's a whole load of rock with water amongst it, and it percolates into the bore, and there's a sand gravel filter, which means that the water only is going to be going into the pipe that's in the ground. That's your bore or your well. And so then that pumps into this tank, and then from this tank it's delivered to that large concrete trough for the cattle to drink from, providing them with cool, fresh water 24/7. It's been remarkably reliable, and we haven't touched this since 2015. We want to put our camera up on the tower there and our radio receiver transmitter to be able to have a look over this area, so you can see the gates and make sure that they're free and clear. Make sure that you've got water in the trough, and you can see the dipstick, which tells you that the tank is full. Okay, let's go have a look. Yep, let's see how bad this is. The question you might be asking is, why is the windmill bent? Why is it completely...
It did come to mind, Jack.
Yes. So
why is the windmill bent, Jack?
Someone who is no longer employed by us drove a loader into it.
As you do.
Yes.
Did you drive it forward or backwards?
Backwards.
Right.
This is why you need to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And always look around. Now, all you need to do is push forwards. So you just small lifts and pushing forwards. Yep, just like that. Now, I'm glad you didn't tell me about sucking eggs.
I'm here to learn and contribute.
Now, before we weld anything here, we want to make sure that we isolate our solar pump just so we don't fry anything. So we shut it down, put it off, cover it from our little sparks, and find one of our leads that we can disconnect. Now that we're not on load, we can disconnect. So those panels are isolated. Yeah, we're ready to get into our welder. So we're only looking at, 5 minutes of welding, if that, not even 5 minutes.
Okay.
A while back, on one of our earlier videos,
Yes.
in fact, a day or two before you got here,
Yeah.
someone had a great solution for an issue that we had down at Brumby,
Yeah.
and they informed me that there does exist a battery powered welder, and
Okay.
it would be small enough to fit into the plane.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because like now we've hooked up a trailer, we've got a gen set, we've got to start up the diesel and have that running to be able to do a weld which is going to be seconds to complete.
Okay, so why don't you get one, Jack?
Well, it's a little hard to justify the cost.
Okay.
It's an unknown I don't really want to go out and outlay.
Yeah.
And we're talking nearly $9,000 or $10,000.
That can pay for a lot of beer, Jack.
A lot of beer.
Okay.
So to help start, you've got push the decompression lever down and release.
Okay,
So you push that down,
Push what down?
that red button, red paddle.
Oh, yeah, seen, yeah.
So you press and hold that down.
Do you need to have hands like bloody Twiggy? Mate, I can't even bloody get to it.
Yeah, you're on it. You just need to hold it down.
Well, I can't get my
While,
hand through
and
it.
we're on and
Yeah,
on.
okay.
All right.
You're not going to zap me, are you, Jack?
Would I do that?
I don't know, mate. Okay, come on.
Now let it go.
Just like that.
Grab our hard core and you just stretch it till it breaks. Stretch it till it breaks. And just that one last time I like to do it. And that just opens it up. So you've got the room there to work with everything. Untwist them so then you can get them set up to go into your Ethernet cable. It's an RJ45. All right, so we're looking good there. Now you just put it through your crimper. She's on, and let's push all the way through because there's been a shortage on certain types of RJ45s with connections. You know, the factories aren't making the runs anymore. You just cut it all the way through and it's neat. And you know that your connection's going to work. Repeat that another 5 times. Making sure that we've got just enough length. And we're good to go. Right, so we're back on task.
Right.
Because a busy ant is a not complaining ant.
No, that's right. It's a worker ant. Okay, good.
Now, so we abandoned the windmill idea. It looks messy. So we've got the crane, which we're now going to call Paco. And we're going to take that down once we finish this job. And we can take some of the valuable steel that was used trying to repair it.
Yep.
And we can reuse that.
Yep. Yep.
So now our power supply for our comms we would like to put this solar panel on it.
Yes.
And we've got a solar mount that we want to put to work. We've used these on all of our other monitoring sites, and we've always needed to do a little bit. So today I was going to test out Ant and see how his problem solving skills, which I know are amazing.
Yeah, I told you that.
and we'll see how we go. So Ant, we've run into a small dilemma.
But Jack, see here, they put these things on like this.
It's not a good, that picture's wrong.
Jack, that can't be right.
And so these are a Z clip, and you clamp down the solar panel using that clip there, and that force there will hold it in place. Now our solar panel thickness is different to what these clips are.
Okay.
And so when we put them onto here, they will never go down tight.
Right.
About 12mm gap
Okay.
to overcome.
Okay.
So how do you reckon we fix that problem?
Well, if it's like you fix any other problem, Jack, it's probably going to have power tools involved.
Yes.
They go like this. They go like this. And there.
That's not going to hold it though. It's got no pressure on it.
Hang on, I need to have a look at this a sec, because I just
This is where you're running into issues. You're reading the instructions and not just doing.
My brother says instructions are for cowards. No, but Jack, can I just make a suggestion here? I know that's courageous of me, but they're saying...
They're designed for a different thickness panel.
Oh, okay. Their panel is not touching that rail.
You might be reading into it a little bit too much. Have you ever built something from IKEA?
I have.
Was it successful? And then did you read the instructions? From all of the ones that I've put together,
Yeah,
I have learnt
yeah.
that the instructions are wrong
Oh my God. Okay, Jack.
and the design is flawed.
Okay, I'm going to follow your lead then. Okay. I would...
These,
Can we just...
So if you put yourself up in the position where we're about to be, which is hanging over another solar panel, and you've got your lower extent. So put this onto our frame. Put it on the frame. Yep. And you're going to try and use the accessories as provided. You will be on the limit there, and you've got potential for slippage off the bottom. You also will not be able to clamp this down because we're using the same length. It will have no traction. It will fall off.
Okay.
We want to go for a direct downwards pressure,
Okay.
and by taking that extra centimetre off the bottom of this
Yep.
and crimping it down, we're not going to have it fall off
Okay.
and
That's what we're
smash
going
the
to
other
do.
solar panel.
That's what we're going to do.
And these are things I've learnt by doing.
Right. That's what we're going to do then, Jack. I'm right there with you.
So Ant's being trusted with power tools.
Yes, again, he's a sucker for punishment.
And you want to cut that piece.
This piece here.
Yeah, and as square as you can. About a
Along,
centimetre.
you want me to do it along there, do you?
Along
Or-
there, at
or-
about halfway.
Okay, about halfway down.
About halfway would be good.
Okay.
Right.
You know, an old professor of mine once said, because they were looking at some rock thing, and one was a igneous petrologist, and the other one was a something. And they're both looking at the same rock unit, but they both had different opinions on how it formed. So the first guy who was from England, he got up and sort of gave his brief, and he said, now my learned colleague will give you his thought. And the other guy was an Indian fella, and he was great. And he led off by saying, because we were students at the time, he led off by saying, now the first thing I have to tell you guys is this, is that whenever two people always have the same opinion, one of them is useless. It's good to challenge. It's good to have other ideas. Otherwise, if you're just nodding your head all the time, then we're not going to progress. So I go with your experience, Jack, because this is my first one and you've put up a stack. So let's go with you. Okay, what are we doing?
Well, we're going to climb up.
Yep.
And we're going to put our base brackets in. I've done this up tight enough that it's not going to fall while we get it in place.
Okay. That thread's going to run out there, Jack.
I think it is going to run out there, Ant. What have we got in terms of
packing?
Yeah, packing.
That should be all right, mate. Yeah, that'll be all right. I think.
How about that? This might be a little bit more appropriate.
It's cool. Yeah, I think that's probably better.
Here you are.
This. Geez, lucky we cut him, Jack.
Start calling you Thomas.
Yes, yes, you may, Jack.
But usually it's you don't believe Pom, and now it's shifted onto me.
I know.
What have I done?
That's because, in actual fact, Pom is a very competent person, but I just don't want him to get out of himself. So I just keep him in check because he's a very talented man, and the more he knows, the more he thinks he is. Well, and his head gets big. It doesn't actually.
He's a very humble man.
He is a humble man.
Yeah, try this multi-tool and see if it makes you as angry as me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're noticing that you can't actually pinch anything with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't close all the way.
All right, I'm going to try another multi-tool, Jack. And do you know what? Oh, no. This is Pom's multi-tool.
Look at that.
I know.
Straight away.
Straight away. Okay, Jack, so are we finished here?
We've got a couple little bits to do. Nothing too serious, 5 minutes when we come back through. So 3 capabilities we've got here now is the live stream video that goes back to the homestead and to the cloud. And we've now got our comms in and comms out. So we've got the internet here.
And we've always had the
solar. We've always had the solar pump for the water.
Okay, so they're the 3.
Yep. And having the internet here, or the network connectivity here, allows us to start introducing, we call it smart home technology. Everyone's familiar with that. We can adapt that for our environment and novel uses here. So that's opened up the door to what we can achieve here without having to rely on expensive satellite communications. So that steel is better off at home than it is out here.
So we'll put it in Kmart.
It'll go to Kmart. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Okay, so tell me about the plan here.
So we're going to use Paco.
Paco. That's the new name for the crane.
Yes.
Okay.
And someone that gave you a lot of gripe when you were a younger person.
Yes. So do you want to give the background on the crane's named after your uncle?
Yep.
Who used to be a crane driver, is that right?
Yeah, so we've named the crane Mac Paco, and that's in honour of my uncle Patrick. He's been up to the station a few times and he's helped out. He helped us build the Windita fence, and that was a lot of fun. Yep. I got to tell him what to do.
Yeah, great. Do you christen it once you know it? Do you christen it? Do you smash a champagne bottle on it or something? Or
look, if we had a long neck of export, maybe, but I think we're just going to put the stickers on when we get home.
Yeah, good idea.
And yeah, it would be a shame to waste beer, wouldn't it?
I never understood that. Watch out, Jack. It's going to push off. It's going to come down on you.
Counts as firewood, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
There's your emergency relief.
Now, is the distance of that going to hit the front of the car?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
I'm putting that on. Check.
Yeah, got it.
But you want some tension on it when you're cutting?
Just as I start, yeah. Can you hear me if I talk like this? No?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
I'm just going to cut one section out so I've got an area to cut so I don't have to take a non-optimum cut. So I'll just be cutting and then I'll ask you for tension.
Yeah, roger.
Okay, a little bit of tension now. Roll back a little bit more. A bit more. Steady. Gonna start the cut.
Yeah, roger. Right. You want me to go back?
What's the worst that could happen?
Well, how about you stand away from it? Thank the Lord.
Yeah, perfect. You can pull your quick release now if you wanted. No, you pull it.
Oh, I panicked.
So if you give that a tug. Yep, and now just reverse.
Oh, I thought he was joking. Look at that. I'm not going over any mould, am I? Look at that. He's a genius. Today signifies the dawn of a new era of cattle farming in wherever we are, Jack. Anyhow, the old's out and the new's in. So what we've basically done, this is the original, well, this is the bore. That's where the water comes from. Where I stand here used to be that mill, windmill. They call them mills up here. They don't say windmill, they call them mills. So that mill was stood above me here, and on top of it, it had the old Southern Cross how you going, which pumped the water from here and put it in the trough. And every time you wanted to know what was going on, you'd have to drive all the way out here and inspect it physically. The new way is, it's a beautiful bore, we keep the fresh water, but the way that we extract it out of the ground and the way that we monitor it has changed completely. Down here we now have a electric submersible pump, and that pump is powered by that solar power there with a control box which feeds into that tank over there, which fills up where the cows drink of inside the yards. So now what we've done is we've put in a, what do you call that? What do you call that, Jack?
Wireless access point.
A wireless access point, which is also solar powered. And that wireless access point, the primary reason for that is to, you see the camera up there, is to now monitor both the tank, because we can see that there's always water in it from the yellow float. We can check the yard to see the health of the cattle as they come in and out, and we can see if there's any, any ferals in the area, so on and so forth. So that's 24. Well, it's 24 feed, I guess. It's real-time feed, and now we can access that from our phone.
So not only does this give you your water level, it can give you your animal behaviours and patterns. You can start seeing who's who and when they're coming in, which allows you to do an optimum time for your trapping, so that you can actually specifically select a group of animals. So with this extra data that we've got, which is visual data, we can actually start developing something else new and exciting, which will change the industry. With those changes that we wish to implement, we're going to be able to go down the pathway which is going to lead to greater drought resilience and resilience in the rangelands for adverse conditions, which will allow you to manage your stock levels and your total grazing pressure, which means that you can then regenerate the rangelands. Because having an understanding of the total grazing pressure allows you to make those management changes. And we're going to have them as intelligence-driven decision making, which has never been done in this region. And it's never been done to this scale. So something like this has the potential to absolutely change the industry. And it's just interesting that there's such a low amount of support for it.